am so excited. I'm really nervous too. Really nervous. Don't tell him. Okay. Please help me welcome Michael LaFido.
He's in the trenches. He's just not a national speaker. He walks the walk and talks the talk.
Come from blue collar. I didn't live in a gated community. I didn't go to an Ivy League school. So there's some misconceptions that you might be having about breaking into the marketing to the affluent, selling higher end products, working smarter, not harder.
Michael LaFido is a top luxury realtor, national trainer, and is the founder of the Marketing Luxury Group. The Marketing Luxury Group helps agents become the trusted luxury agents in their market. Michael is also the founder of the Luxury Real Estate Designation, which is known as the Luxury Listing Specialist Certification. This new designation establishes a minimum set of standards for agents that market luxury homes. Many agents within the industry are calling Michael's methods the new standard for marketing luxury homes today. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael LaFido.
Welcome. What a great morning. First off, let's hear it for Eddie Perez. Did he do an amazing job with his opening? I was so inspired. I love learning from others. I love hearing rags to riches stories. And Eddie's was amazing, and I love what they're doing here at EPM. And Jason Frazier, I want to thank you as well. He's been a great supporter. So I have a lot of content to cover. There's going to be something in the room for everybody, whether you're a lender, you're newer into the mortgage business, or you're a real estate agent, and you're experienced, or you're a newer agent, whether you're with a bigger brand or a smaller brand. There's something for everybody. And niche, there's an old adage, there's riches in niches. Generalists get paid, specialists get wealthy. So we're going to talk about how to become a specialist for whatever it is you do. And so that's what we're going to talk about, building an unstoppable brand as well. I do a lot of trainings, a lot of speaking. I won't bore you with the details of my resume. But I do speak across the country, and we help agents increase their average sale price. And I can tell you one of the most biggest barriers that I have when working with an agent is the limiting beliefs, the mindset. You know, I can't break into luxury. I have to be licensed X amount of years, or be with a certain brand, or live in a certain home or a certain community, or drive a certain car. You might know those as excuses. I call them limiting beliefs. And that is one of the biggest barriers I have to help agents, is break down those limiting beliefs. And so we do these trainings all across the country. We're going to be doing one in the wine country of Texas next month. I launched a podcast some years ago. We just released our 174th episode. How many of you like driving, listen to podcasts, or working out, listening podcast? You might consider downloading this. We just released our 174th episode yesterday with Marcus Ogden. Marcus played in the National Football League. His brother was Jonathan Ogden, who was a Hall of Famer. And we are always looking for guests. So if you think you have a unique story, you do something really special, you have a rags to riches story, please let us know. We recently highlighted an agent who had $50 left to her name, and she just listed a $5 million home. And she talks about how that attracts a lot more opportunities for her. We've done trainings at mansions in different parts of the country. This is one at the Nashville mansion. Maybe you remember Raina James from the TV show Nashville. So I don't advise you to do what I'm about to share with you, but we talk about stepping out of the comfort zone. I use a lot of different, I call them LaFido-isms. I have these objection handling playing cards. I'm a former football coach, and I played Division II football. And one of the things I always say is shy real estate agents or shy lenders, shy loan officers have skinny kids. You know, you can't be shy in this industry, right? I mean, you got to be able to step out of your comfort zone, talk to people, let them know what you do for a living. Okay? You can't be shy. You got to be able to step out of your comfort zone because that's where the magic happens. This story here, I'll keep it real brief. Long story short, this agent was trying to break into luxury. So this home was on the market. It came off the market. They call that a canceled or expired listing in our industry. He was going to door knock her. You know, door knock, say, I see your home came off the market type of thing. Had a front gate. He pulls up the front gate. There's a car in front of him. The gate opens. He follows that car in the gate, which I don't recommend in today's day and age where a lot of people do concealed carry and have dogs in these kind of homes and security. So he follows her into the gate, gets out of the car and goes, I'm here to see Sylvia. She goes, oh, I'm Sylvia's best friend. Follow me in. And he's a good-looking guy, and there was all these women there, and he got the listing appointment, okay? He ended up hiring me, and I consulted him, and we went down on we brought our class down there. She ended up not hiring him, but you talk about stepping out of your comfort zone, being gutsy. I do believe the fastest way for an agent or a lender, there's a lender in my market that when he helps one of his clients get a loan, he posts about it, and he talks about how he helped them. And so I do believe the fastest way for a lender or an agent to get instant credibility from your database or your sphere or people that know you, like you, and trust you is you land that first high-end or that trophy client, whether you represent the buyer or the seller. Now, I know that might sound pretentious to some of you because I'm in the business to help everybody. We do cute and small. Okay, we do the entry-level properties. I sold a $93,000 vacant lot last year. So it's not just about luxury. We're going to help everybody. Now, I might refer somebody on my team that works more with entry-level or starter buyers because I do believe that there's 4 primary price points in every market. There's entry or starter homes. There's average-priced homes, which average is all relative, so every market's got an average-priced home or pricing. You have high-end homes, which we define high-end homes as homes that are 2 times the average sale price for that given market. And then you have luxury homes. Luxury homes is all relative. I was doing this training for a guy that's based right here in Atlanta. Maybe you know the name, Matt Fagioli. He runs a conference each year called Explode Conference. I was doing an Explode Conference for Matt in Kokomo, Indiana. I've never even heard of Kokomo, Indiana. Turns out an agent comes up to me and says, I was really looking forward to your breaking into luxury breakout session. She goes, I was hesitant because we don't have luxury here in Kokomo, but based on your definition of 3 times the average sale price, she told me her average sale price in Kokomo was $80,000 at the time. That was pre-COVID. Maybe it's $130 now, I don't know. But 80 times 3 is 240. She says we have a lot of 300s, 400s, even some 600s, 700s, but we just don't have those $900 and $1 million plus properties. So thinking differently, thinking outside the box, diversifying your portfolio of homes that you represent or loans that you represent, and building an unstoppable brand. So I guarantee if you do some of those high-end and unique deals, you're going to get more people talking to you at the grocery store, at your kid's ball game that will come up to you that you didn't even think they knew you were in real estate, but they saw your sign or they saw you post something on how you helped help the buyer with their loan. Okay, so I do believe that. Now, maybe you remember the movie with Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Well, I talk a lot, and I teach agents about how to get more listings. Now, as a lender, I know, by the way, this is a writer-downer for everybody. The most listened to radio station in Atlanta, I checked this morning, and it's the same in Chicago. This guy, you've heard me speak before or no? I like it. You know the answer. It's WIIFM. The most listened to radio station that your consumer listens to, people that you service listen to, is What's in It for Them? Or me. Me. WIIFM. What's in it for me? So I share that with you because I know as a lender you might think, well, shoot, I want to work with buyer's agents, not listing agents, because listing agents, they don't give me the loan. Somebody that works with a lot of buyers do. But I'm telling you, Florida International did a study. Agents that work with buyers only versus agents that work with buyers and sellers versus agents that work with listings only. The agents that focus on sellers only made a whopping 81% more than the next category. So for me, I focus on listings, but then we cheerfully work with buyers. I have buyers agents on my team. Okay, listings in the real estate industry are like magnets. You get sign calls, you get internet leads, and guess what? Most of those buyers that call, they're not represented. And so you can get them pre-approved with the lenders. So just think differently, okay? So I know as a real estate agent, my lender doesn't, by default, doesn't like when I talk about listings, but if they're educated and they get it, they understand that listings are lead magnets for buyers. Now, Albert Einstein says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And in our industry, we just had a record. We have over 1.5 million realtors, okay? There's no I in realtors, okay? We probably have over 2 million licensed real estate agents for sure, okay? But 1.5 million and some change. We have the most ever in January of 2022, okay? The most ever. Everybody knows a real estate agent. Most everybody probably knows a mortgage professional. So what are you doing to differentiate and build an unstoppable brand, okay? One of the things I challenge you is to continue learn. You're here. You can be pulled in a lot of directions. It's snowing back home. We had David, who spoke this morning, drove from Toronto to present. I mean, you talk about dedication, but you should always be learning. Oops, I jumped a slide too fast. ABL, always be learning. You can learn from your brand. You can learn from other brands, okay? Tomorrow you're going to hear about YouTube for agents. Karen was on my podcast. I was on hers. I contributed to her. I can learn from, I don't have a scarcity mindset. You shouldn't have a scarcity mindset either. Always be learning. Learn about your competition, not so you can talk negative about them, but I believe, I'm brand agnostic with our trainings, and I believe that there's good in most real estate companies, real estate, or most mortgage companies. But you need to have a unique value proposition, which I know EPM does, but you almost have to have a unique value proposition for you because you're part of the brand as well. So what do you do different than maybe somebody else at EPM? Or what do you do differently than maybe somebody else at Guaranteed Rate? Or what do you do different than somebody that's at Compass or fill in the blank? You always need to be learning, be a sponge, always get better. Now, I do believe that if you grow your knowledge, your confidence will grow. And if you're more confident, I believe you're more likely to step out of your comfort zone. And that's really where the magic happens. You see, I'm a licensed real estate agent in the state of Illinois, but my philosophy is have car, will travel. I was selling a winery 2.5 hours away from my house. I didn't even know we had winery in Illinois. My wife wasn't a fan of the wine, but that's another story. So that's my philosophy. Have car, will travel. Because I believe that our marketing is superior than the competition. And if I'm educated and I understand the trends and the schools and what's unique about the location, I can position that home better to a larger audience than the competition. Okay? That's knowledge, that's confidence. Okay, so grow your knowledge and your confidence will grow. So in real estate, many times I'll have people tell me, well, Mike, what would be one of the first things I should do to break into luxury or sell more high-end and luxury homes? And I tell them, what are you reading? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Zig Ziglar said, if you hang out with 9 dead broke people, you're bound to be the 10th. Okay? So hang out with 9 overachievers, 9 top producers. Now, during my trainings, I do talk about making more money, but I don't want you to be turned off by that. You know, one of my speaking coaches once said, money freedom equals time freedom equals relationship freedom. So if you can make more money, you can invest, you can maybe bring on a staff, which will give you more time freedom to do some other things in the community and give back. My wife and I and our kids, my wife's a teacher, and she organized a community outreach with some of her students, and we donated our time at this Feed Our Starving Children organization, and we packed like 50-something boxes, and it was really good for our kids to see that. But I asked the person, I said, listen, are you short help, or do you need, what's more important, do you need more donations and money for this food? He said, all day money. We need more donors. So money freedom equals time freedom equals relationship freedom. So if you're more successful, you can donate to causes. You can give back to the community. You can pay it forward, like at the bridal shop that we heard this morning, which was pretty cool. You don't realize it, but you're in a show and tell industry just like I'm in a show and tell industry. You don't think about it this way, but We're basically in the dating app industry as a real estate agent. People are swiping left and swiping right on my properties that I represent. I've been told you want more swipe rights in the dating world, okay? So you want more swipe rights on your properties if you're an agent than swipe lefts. But we're in a show and tell industry. I got to tell you this story, true story. That's my middle son in the screen there. That's Vinny the bulldozer. Vinny, he's like a bulldozer. When he was learning to crawl, he would push everything out of his way with his head. And so we nicknamed him the bulldozer, and he ended up loving diggers and dumpers and John Deeres and all that good stuff. But I mean, by the way, isn't it like, look at the smile. It was mystery reader. Any parents know what mystery reader is? It's when they describe a parent and all the kids are thinking, oh, whose parent's coming this week, you know? And so that was the day I was mystery reader for Vince. We were reading Pete and the Cat, okay? The next picture to the right is the same story with Vince, where it was show and tell, and unbeknownst to my wife and I, he was supposed to bring something with the letter M. Well, he was supposed to bring 7 things in a paper bag, a lunch bag with the letter M. And unbeknownst to my wife and I, he brought my Moscow Mule mug. It said Tito's on it. You can't see it, but it says Tito's on it. Luckily, Miss Carson had a great sense of humor, and the DCFS wasn't called. But we are in a show and tell industry, if you think about it. And that's what that lender does so well that I'm friends with on Facebook. Maybe there's a record sale, just listed, just sold. I'm a big believer in case studies. So if you're a lender, and maybe you were a second opinion on a deal, and maybe the first lender didn't have that product, or the rate was bad, or the customer had a bad experience, that's what I call a case study. You need more of those, telling the story of how you solved the problem. As a real estate agent, when I post, it just sold, this is like Polaroid, if you remember the old Kodak. You need a lot of Polaroids, because we're in a show and tell industry. But many times what we'll do is we'll explain how we were able to position that home differently and how we were able to get it sold than maybe the competition didn't. Because many times I am a second opinion. There's an old adage in real estate, maybe not in the lending business, but as an agent, you want to be the firstborn, you want to be the second wife, and you want to be the third real estate agent. You get that? In real estate, many times a home doesn't sell with the first agent or the second agent. But when you list the home the third time, maybe the homeowner finally says, you know what, I got to take the pink wallpaper down. You're the third agent that tells me it. Or you know what, that buffalo head that's above my fireplace from my hunting trip, maybe I should take that down because you're the third agent, okay? So that's part of the process as well. So you need to have good visuals in the lending industry, and you got to have good visuals in the real estate industry because people are visual. Okay, Steve Jobs just passed away 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago that he passed away, but he was so great at telling great stories and having great visuals and creating urgency. If I was standing up here and just told you a bunch of stories, you'd remember 10% of it within 72 hours. Okay? If I showed you a couple things, you'd remember that jumps up to 35%. But if I show and I tell and I back it up with some stories or some examples, that skyrockets to 65%. So when you're presenting with a buyer, with the seller, or a potential loan, having screen where you can share your screen, having some good visuals to show your products, your conversion rate will skyrocket and you'll build more trust that way as well. So use strong visuals. So these are some great, before and afters. This is another example, like of a Polaroid. You have the town that you sold a home and tell the story, how you were able to get it sold. This house here looked like a taxidermist home. They had over 100 stuffed dead animals in the house, okay? And I was the third real estate agent here. But if you have strong visuals, and I had case study after case study after case study, they were interviewing another agent as well, and he said, no, you don't have to do anything. Buyers can see past it. Buyers can only visualize 10% of buyers, and that's why real estate investors buy those ugly homes, because they can see past it. Maybe you see those yellow handwritten signs at the side of the road, we buy ugly houses, fast, cash. 10%, that might be a writer downer for you. Again, as a lender, if I were you, I'd always try to bring more value to my realtor clients as well, right? They're looking, you got the 10X shirt, by the way. I'm partners with Elena Cardone. Yeah, I've been at Grant and Elena's home down in Florida. They bought Tommy Hilfiger's house. That was pretty cool. But as a lender, you got to realize the most listened to radio station, a real estate agent and their team leaders and their team listen to. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? So you got to bring more value. And so I'm talking to you right now as a top luxury trainer consultant that if you go back to your top realtors and take notes and you could say, hey, listen, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? You're bringing value. It's not just about tools or rate sheets and dropping by an office with some donuts and coffee. Bring value. Same thing, real estate agents. You got to differentiate yourself and bring more value to the table. Pay it forward. That's what Eddie talked about. Pay it forward. So let's talk about some misconceptions that I have to teach agents, and I covered some of these already, that most agents think they personally have to be a top producing agent or have a bunch of gray hairs before they can sell high-end homes. They personally need to be wealthy. That's false. They personally need to live in a big home. False. Or drive a nice car. False. Or be with a big office, a Sotheby's or a Compass or something like this. That's false too. The worst one, which isn't listed, is I certainly can't be a top luxury agent because there's already blank number of agents in my market, luxury agents. Fill in the blank. If you told me 23, I'd say there's certainly room for 24. If you told me 1,987 luxury agents in your market, I'd say there's room for 1,988. Stop telling yourself you can't be that. We each have our story. And most of us are self-conscious about our story. We're not proud of our upbringing or maybe something that happened. Everybody's got their story, and it really depends on what you focus on. Write this down. What you focus on expands. If you focus on how you're a victim, I have a lot of clients, it's 60% of this statistic is pretty accurate. Frank, how you doing back there? About 60% of real estate agents are female, 40% are male. Last week we did a training in Denver, our designation training, all-day training, and the next day we toured a $7 million home and a $4.5 million home. I'd say 80% of the agents that go to my trainings are female. A lot of the females tell me their story because I'm helping them develop their unique value proposition. Some of them had tough upbringings. Some of them are single moms raising their kids. And some of the fathers are going through some hardships. We all have hardships. Come from a place of understanding and be more empathetic. But where I'm going with you on this is there's a reason that a windshield of a front car is 10, 20 times larger than the rear view mirror, the rear view mirror. A lot of us have what I call rear view mirror syndrome. You keep looking back, what if, or man, that person got dealt a better hand of cards than I do. Or you know what, you log on to Facebook, and they got such a great life, don't they? Man, her husband is so supportive, and what a great dad. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, don't believe everything you see on Facebook. Okay, my mentor, Dan S. Kennedy, writes a lot of books. He's a great on marketing. He says, you know what the difference between a high net worth individual and the average American? There's not a whole lot. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They come home, their dog poops on the carpeting just like your dog, okay? So sometimes you can psych yourself out saying, I can't work with these clientele. So when I said it earlier, grow your knowledge and your confidence will grow. Part of growing your knowledge is feeling more comfortable about the product and the service that you offer. Now, I teach agents a technique. When they don't have luxury properties, how can they grow their knowledge and how can they be more familiar? Maybe you remember the song from the 1990s. You down with OPP? Okay, some of you remember that song. So hey, my DJ can get that song going, a little OPP going, all right? This guy had it going last night. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but okay. He was awesome last night, too. Was our DJ great last night that we're here? But the OPP song, other people's properties. So I teach agents, if you don't have luxury properties in your portfolio, leverage other people's properties in your office, on your team, until you have your own. Okay? Now do it tactfully and ethically, I can't just steal listings and put them on the on the Facebook. But if Karen is in my team or my organization, I say, hey, Karen, you have an amazing listing at 123 Buckhead Road. I'm wondering if you might, if I post on that, I could tag you and give you credit, but I'd love to talk about it. Or Karen's having a big broker open house. By the way, that's something. Broker open houses, you can bring value perhaps to some of your luxury agents. But I see you have this big broker open on Tuesday, Karen. Would you mind if I stop by? I was planning on stopping by. Would you mind if I took some photos and maybe did a Facebook Live video and I would tag you? I would not claim it's my listing. Would you mind? Okay. So it's great exposure for her. What's in it for her? What's in it for her? You see, one of the things I teach agents is to reverse engineer. If we were to role play a little bit, what keeps Karen Carr, who's awesome, by the way, but let's say she's got a luxury listing. I like to use the word stale. Let's say Karen's got a stale luxury listing. By stale, I mean it's been on the market for some time. What keeps her awake at night? Audience participation. Just what keeps a listing agent that's got a stale home that's been on the market, what keeps her awake at night? Seller's response, like, hey, they're calling you, like, hey, what are you doing to get my home sold? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Canceling the contract. Anybody else? What's wrong with my house? Why isn't it selling? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you selling it? Right? You told me it would sell. The only time I hear from you is to lower the price or something like this, right? Are you hearing me? Yeah. Are you hearing me? Yeah. Am I that boring? No. All right, I'm just kidding. So, great answers. All of those answers are correct. So before I call Karen Carr, I already know what keeps her awake at night as a listing agent. Because what's the most listened to radio station Karen listens to before she picks up? What's WIIFM? What's in it for me? So I have to deliver something on a silver platter because I know what keeps her awake at night. So let's say Karen was in my office and she's an experienced agent. Like, for example, I have 3 kids. I'd love to stick around for tomorrow, but my guilt strings pull on me, and so I'm flying back tonight so I don't miss the weekend with my kids. And so I don't do open houses on weekends. I have other team members that do it. But if Karen, I knew, runs a rock star team and she's got this big listing, she might not want to do an open house at that stale luxury listing. But if I gave her something on a silver platter, I said, hey, Karen, ring, ring. Hey, Karen, Michael LaFido from EPM Realty, how you doing? Good. Hey, listen, we've seen each other at the holiday parties. I know you don't know me that well, but you got that amazing listing on Buckhead. Love it. Hey, listen, I'm not sure if the seller's on you about doing something different, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, calling you about, hey, what are you doing to get the home sold? But I'd love to host an open house there for you and hopefully get you a lot more exposure. You know, these third-party websites like Realtor.com, by the way, I'm teaching all of you lenders some value right now that you can encourage your agents to think differently. Because open houses a lot of times in our market don't work, but what I'm about to tell you is a reason to do an open house. So Karen, if I were to do an open house, and let's just say there's not a ton of foot traffic in there, it's still not a waste of your time, my time, and the seller's time, because what happens is in a lot of these third-party websites like Realtor.com and do I say it, Redfin or Zillow, they push their open houses at the top. Okay, they promote open houses. So the week that we do an open house, you're going to get more eyeball traffic. When I get more eyeball traffic, we have a higher probability of qualified showings. When we have more qualified showings, we have a higher probability of getting your home sold for top dollar and quickly. So worst case scenario, I like starting with worst case, is we don't get a ton of activity, but you still get a ton of online traffic, which increases your probability for some showings in the following weeks. But best case scenario is, since a lot of people aren't doing open houses now with the pandemic and Omicron and everything else, since a lot of people aren't doing it, yours will get more notice and you'll get higher quality traffic. How does that sound? So I've just presented to her a reason where I'm helping her because, again, I know her seller might object as well. So if she can go to the seller and say, listen, even if we don't get a lot of showings, it doesn't mean it's a waste of our time. Okay? So thinking differently. Reverse engineering what keeps them awake at night and your clients. Okay, being empathetic. Eddie talked about that this morning. So the problem is so many people are pessimists. They see this as half empty versus half full. You got to get rid of those people in your life that are negative Nancy's or negative Nicks. You know who I'm talking about. They nitpick. Oh man, the dessert. They had brownies, but where are the cookies? Or whatever it might be. They pinpoint on everything. They're always complaining, okay? You know, Lisa Hayes says it better than I can. She says, be careful how you talk to yourself, because guess what? You are listening. So I don't care if you're a 47-year-old mom or husband or a 60-year-old agent in the room or a 20-something. You can always be listening and always get better, but you got to build yourself up. Build yourself up. Do we get kicked in the shins in the mortgage and the real estate business? Yeah. It hurts, right? Who's gotten kicked in the shins in the last month? A parent maybe, accidentally. No, I mean like it really got kicked in the shins. Anybody? It hurts. Oh my God, getting kicked in the shins, it's not fun. You log on to Facebook. This happened to me yesterday. A new listing came on, 1.25 million. I've been talking to them for some time. They didn't hire me. I texted them. I just said, hey, saw that your home went on the market. Hey, I'm going to do everything I can to bring you the buyer. But out of curiosity, did I drop the ball or do something to offend you? Or because I was like, I thought for sure, right? I don't assume, but I've been in pretty good communication with them. They said, yeah, we sent you an email on November 6th. I checked. There was no email. I said, what email did you send it to? It was to my old company, okay? I wish you would have called or texted, but at the end of the day, it's on me. You got kicked in the shins, okay? You got to pull yourself off the mat. Both my sons wrestle. I have a sixth grader and a fifth grader. They wrestle. My son was 5 and 17 at the junior high this year in wrestling. 5 and 12. He won out of 17 matches, won 5, lost 12. Wrestling is a violent sport. When I say violent, I'm not talking, but he got pounded some matches, like tossed around. And they both just went to a wrestling tournament this past weekend. There were 730 wrestlers there. You walk in there, you thought you were walking into a WWE event. I mean, there's some rough-looking parents, and God bless you if you're tattooed up in the audience, but they're earringed up, tattooed up, and hat sideways up, and you're, as a parent, like, wow, My kids stepped in the ring. They got pounded. Both of them went 0-4. After the third one, they wanted to go home. The NFL games were on. We're going to lose. And this is him talking. I mean, the kids are I'm going to lose. I don't know enough moves. I said, hey, listen, you came here to wrestle every match for your club. Do the best. You got to. I use baseball analogies a lot. I go, just like when you strike out 5 times in a row, that 6th time you got to say, I'm going to get a hit. I'm going to get a hit. I'm going to get a hit. You pick up the phone and you call past clients. You're a lender. You're calling online leads. You call them, you get no. The next one, I'm going to get a yes. I'm going to get a yes. I'm going to get a yes. That's how you're going to make it. Okay? You got to have thick skin. You got to have short memory like Deion Sanders, prime time. You get beat deep as a DB, you got to get back up there. Okay? My point is they peeled themselves off the mat and they got back in the ring. Life is like that. You get pinned sometimes. Some mornings you get kicked in the shins. How do you talk to yourself? What are you listening to? Who are you surrounding yourself with? That's how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Okay? Tony Robbins talks about it all the time, the cycle. You keep telling yourself, here we go again. It's going to be a crappy year. You got to get out of that. Okay? Some of you might need to invest in coaching or surrounding yourself with people that will elevate your business, and you're here. So you're around other rock stars or people that are hungry or committed to it. Have some accountability partners. That's really important. I can't tell it to you enough. Jim Rohn says you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Remember, I think it was Verizon years ago with Dwayne Wade. Who's in your Fab 5? Who's in your Fab 5? Who are you surrounding yourself with? You fill in the blank. You hang out with 5 overachievers, you're bound to be the 6th. You hang out with 5 top producers, you're going to be the 6th. You hang out with 5 people that were awarded on EPM stage yesterday because they're overachieving or they're giving amazing customer service, you're going to be the 6th. But guess what? If you hang out with 5 people that think it's going to be a doom, gloom, cold winter with full of death, you're bound to be the 6th too. Okay? Let's go. By the way, and I'll talk about this later, but be careful with politics on social media. Roger Bannister was the first person to ever run the mile under 4 minutes. 4-minute barrier. People were close, 4:02, 4:01. He was the first to run it under 4. Now, he did have a pacer at that race. In other words, he had somebody that was switching off and running a little bit faster, just like if you go to, I went to a greyhound dog race once, and they had a fake rabbit that was in front of the dogs, and the dogs were running fast because they were trying to get the rabbit, okay? He had a pacer, but he broke that 4-minute barrier. And do you realize within 2 years, 37 others ran that same mile under 4 minutes? It wasn't because Nike came out with this new comfortable shoe or Gatorade came out with this energy drink. It was because if Roger did it, so can I. So I'm up here a testament to you. I'm the founder of Lux Designation. We sell NFL players. I just sold Khalil Mack's house in Chicago, highest defensive player ever in the NFL. Okay, thank you, appreciate it. I hope I could sell Michael Jordan someday. The greatest of all times home's been on for 9 years. Okay, I showed it to a client once, but that's a whole nother story. My point is, what's holding you back? Why can't you break some barriers? One of my sayings that's in my office, that's on the back of my book, is prove them wrong. I love when people tell me I can't do something, or that can't be done, or whatever it might be. I don't know if it's a male thing, a female thing, if it's a race thing, whatever they tell you. Man, post that, put that picture up. Use that visual reminder to say, I'm going to prove them wrong. If I were to say one of my favorite quotes for agents that break down barriers and lenders to break down barriers, and it's from Daniel Kahneman, who won a Nobel Peace Prize winner. He was the Nobel Peace Prize winner. And I'm talking to everybody in the room right now, no matter what you do for a living, because I know we have some of the vendors in the hallway as well, in the hall room. People would rather do business with someone they like and they trust rather than someone they don't. Even if this likable person is offering maybe a lower quality product and service at a higher price. Don't be a jerk, bottom line, okay? Be nice, come from a place of understanding, be authentic. That's why videos are so good, okay? Whether you're in the lending business or in the real estate business, you can't produce enough videos. How many of you have done some sort of Facebook Live at an amazing property, at this mansion or some home that was on the market? Anybody? I'm looking around the room and I don't see one hand. Now, I do have bright lights up. So Karen Carr, using her as an example, she's going to teach you this tomorrow as well. But one thing I might consider if I were you, you're trying to bring value. So if I'm a lender and I'm doing a broker open at 123 Biscayne Boulevard or whatever the address is, you might consider promoting that home to your database for the agent, okay? If you're an agent, you might consider doing some kind of Facebook Live. So if I were, and hopefully my phone's on mute here, but I'm going to show you how simple it can be, because we're talking about building an unstoppable brand. You are your brand. If I were to use hamburger as an example, if you think of hamburger and I say McDonald's, what do you think? Big Mac. Yuck. Okay, somebody said yuck. Okay, if I were to say hamburger and I were to say Perry's, like Perry's Steakhouse. Do you have Perry's around here? Oh, okay. Give me a steakhouse. Del Frisco's. If you were to say Del Frisco and I say hamburger, you think more quality? Okay. It's no different than I say McDonald's $1 cup of coffee versus $4 Starbucks coffee. What's the difference of Starbucks at $4 versus McDonald's at $1? Quality. Strong. Drugs. All right, I don't know what you mean by that, but oh, it's strong. Okay, all right. I thought maybe I don't even want to say. Can't even kid around. You can't even say those things anymore. So, I will say this though. Steve Jobs was once asked, he said, man, you can't please everybody. If you want to make everybody happy, sell ice cream. But guess what? If you sell ice cream, people would still complain. Not enough flavors, it's too cold. So I would tell you, be you. Be comfortable in your own skin. Now, when I asked you how many of you raised your hand have done lifestyle video, done some kind of a Facebook Live video, I'm going to encourage you to get to a YouTube channel. You're going to hear Karen Carr tomorrow morning talk about it. But I'm going to encourage you to get a YouTube channel. It costs you $0. You need a Gmail account. You know, Google's the #1 search engine out there. YouTube's #2. So I'm going to encourage you, but I'll let her talk more about video. But I'm going to talk about streaming and Facebook and how simple it is. So I got my Facebook account open right now. I know you can't read it, but it just says, coming to you live from Atlanta at the EPMX conference. If I were to hit this little 3 dot right now again, I don't know what my reception is, so sometimes it works great. Technology is great when it works. But I'm going to hit live video. Now, I'm not live right now. Oh, I better put selfie mode on, okay? So I'm going to hit live right now. Now, I'm not live, but when I hit that go live button, it will give me a countdown. Now, that does mean if you got a big booger hanging from your nose and you go live, it's going to, okay, so make sure you check and you do all that ahead of time, okay? So if I'm going to go live, which it's counting down 3, 2, 1, we'll see, hopefully the internet's good. I think I'm live. I think I can. It's thinking, hey, everybody, we're here live from Atlanta. Hopefully, by the way, it might not even be recording, but hopefully, there we are. Now we are live. Hey, we are live. We are coming to you live from Atlanta at the EPMX conference. We're learning the best of the best. I'll tell you, Eddie Perez is doing some amazing things. Let's hear it for Eddie. We have about 350 rock star lenders and agents in this room, maybe 400. I don't even know what the count. I saw literally 5 feet from me yesterday was Emmitt Smith, the NFL's all-time running back. And we're going to have some really exciting guests this afternoon. But we're teaching agents and lenders to step out of their comfort zone and build a brand. So if you're thinking about video, video's not optional in my opinion anymore. It's the new gold standard when marketing any home, especially high-end and luxury. So I got friend requests coming in, but let's say hi to everybody. Come on. Keep raising the bar, and like Eddie said this morning, the great American gift. We have the best country in the world so much that our haters won't leave, but I will tell you. You like that one? But I will tell you, we can always be better. So keep striving to better, and we can always get better. Go prove someone wrong and make somebody's day. Peace. All right. So I was live. I was live there. But now after I hit end, it will say post now. It will say privacy, friends, or public. And so I'm going to put public, and then I'll go back, and then I'm going to hit post, and it's going to say, how long do you want it? Never delete it. I'll hit never delete it. And there we go. That's how simple you can do a Facebook Live. Now, if you want to practice before you hit go live, do so. But I do know this. I'm very aware that some of us are self-conscious about the way we sound and we look. Some people, English second language, or, I got one nostril bigger than the other. You could probably tell if you look, okay? My left eye doesn't open as big as my right eye, okay? So I know some of you are self-conscious. Maybe you put that COVID-20 on, and that's okay. Okay, COVID curves. Maybe you got COVID curves. And that's all right. Step out of your comfort zone. That's what I challenge you. That's where the magic happens. I mentioned it earlier. This is all the clients care about. A client tunes into this radio station, WIIFM. That's all they care about. However, what you need to listen to as an expert advisor, your most listened to radio station should be AAT, all about them. Listen. We got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you talk. Okay? I have one person I do business with in the title business, and you can't get a word in edgewise. You know who I'm talking about? Chatty Cathy, Chatty Carl, whatever their name is. Okay? Listen. Okay. So I'm going to fast forward through some of these. Do you blend in or do you stand out? Your brand, your marketing. I think Seth Godin once said, be different or charge less. Okay? So you need to do a fresh eyes analysis on your marketing. Okay? You might call it a SWOT analysis. Strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. Have you Googled yourself lately? Okay? More importantly, do you have somebody that you like and trust that maybe is more superior in what they do for a living? Give you a fresh eyes analysis? So Karen could do a fresh eyes analysis on her branding, but it's like, think about it. I got a 19 on my ACT, by the way. That's not good, okay? So when I was graduating college as a gym teacher and a health coach, I had to write an essay as part of anybody that went through the education program. They make sure you could write an essay, 5-paragraph, introduction paragraph, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. I failed it the first time, okay? I see you laughing. That's okay. I got an 18 the second time I took my test, okay? True story. But my point is, if I gave that paper to somebody to proof it, they could poke holes in it. They can see some grammatical errors that I missed, okay? So when you do a SWOT analysis, when you Google yourself, have somebody else that you like and trust. That person, when you have lunch and you have something stuck in your teeth, they'll tell you you got something. You got to have somebody shoot it to you straight, okay? That's how you get better. Accountability is a good thing. Okay, so let's talk about the first rule of thumb of marketing. You got 2 forms of marketing. You got cold marketing, which is lead gen, prospecting, people that don't know you, like you, or trust you. And then you have warm marketing. Warm marketing is your database, your sphere. Okay, and that's the first rule of thumb, is to get people's attention in marketing. You got to get people's attention. There's 1.5 million realtors. Everybody knows somebody. Have you gone to the mall and if I said the word ShamWow, what do you think of? That late night infomercial goofy guy that spills pop at the kiosk at the mall and absorbs it with the towel? Okay, he's memorable. Say what you want. So I teach lenders, I teach agents not to think like a real estate agent. Don't think like a loan officer. Think like a marketer. There's a calculated difference. And I already talked to you about Starbucks versus McDonald's coffee. The difference, the experience, the branding, the marketing. Now I'm going to go through a couple of these here quickly. Thinking outside the box. So I live in Wheaton, Illinois, home of Red Grange, home of the Belushi brothers, home of the Hubble telescope, okay? About 25 miles west of Chicago. We have one of the largest 4th of July parades. I was the only real estate agent. By the way, when you sign up for some of these things and you sign up for marketing, you can ask for exclusivity. They might tell you no, but I was the only real estate agent. So I would donate to the local baseball club, but in exchange, I told them to wear your jerseys. And we handed out free car washes to everybody. Free car wash, free car wash. Well, guess what the free car wash certificate was stapled to? A double-sided postcard. One side of the postcard said, thinking about buying a home, and we talked about our unique value proposition for buyers. Well, what do you think the backside said? Thinking of selling your home. Very good. Have fun with your marketing. I got to go through these fairly quick. Remember Nancy Reagan's motto when Ronald Reagan was the president? This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions? You're not at Starbucks? Hey, I don't know what to tell you, but hey, I appreciate you committed to something, so that's good, okay? So we're talking about obnoxious marketing, and so I would literally send x-rays in the mail to canceled and expired listings. This is your brain before you hire Michael LaFido. This is your brain after. Any questions? Have fun with your marketing. I would send bank bags. I would send silver platters. This is a question you got to ask yourself as we're in January of 2022. What was your average check last year? If you're in a commission-based industry, what was your average client worth to you? And what will you cheerfully pay to get a new client? Let me say that again. What is a client worth to you, and what will you cheerfully invest to get a new client? So last year, the average seller I represented was just over $1 million, okay? At whatever percent commission, they're at least worth 20 grand to me. My average client's at least 20 grand. So for me, if I'm doing mailers, they're higher end, and I'm selling bank bags and spending money that my competition doesn't, I know what my ROI is going to be if I get one sale. Okay, so you need to reverse engineer your numbers. I told you you got to be really good with case studies. Okay, tell the story. This agent that was before me, she was endorsed by Barbara Corcoran. And the seller told me she didn't do anything. She was great at marketing herself, but not the house. I'm not bashing that agent, but I know I had to position that home differently. So we got his home sold in 39 days. Here's another one and another one. So you need to have a lot of testimonials and case studies. Okay? If you get an award, those of you that got an award yesterday, raise your hand. Hey, if you got an award, don't be shy. talk about it, post about it, be humble about it, but talk. I'm so fortunate that EPM gave me this. It means a lot. I mean, talk about it. Well, no, listen. A couple people on my Facebook say I'm always talking about myself, or they're always talking about your awards, or you sold another home. Take it easy. You talk too much. Listen, like Steve Jobs says, you're never going to please everybody. It's tough to build an unstoppable brand by pleasing everybody. I can guarantee you that. If in this hotel I had Kim Kardashian down the hallway giving free autographs and selfies, and I had every Nobel Peace Prize winner living giving selfies and autographs in another room, which room would have a line out the door? Unfortunately, it should be Peace Prize winners, but it's probably going to be Kim Kardashian. So my point is, if you go to EPM to an Atlanta Hawks game or you see a celebrity, take a picture with them. Okay, post about it. This guy right here, I didn't know who it was, but my wife was drooling, but other than that, I didn't know who he was. This guy was engaged to Lady Gaga. I posted within 24 hours, I was at a function, within 24 hours, I had all these people commenting on things. So part of building a brand, okay, is getting out there, being consistent. If you don't get likes or comments, it doesn't mean people aren't noticing you. Okay? But be consistent. Remember, you're not in the mortgage business or the real estate business. You're in the business of marketing your real estate business. You can have the best website in the world with no traffic. You can have a crappy website, but you get a lot of qualified traffic. I'd rather be here all day. But some of you you're still planning to get around to get around. I'm a recovering perfectionist. But I am a micromanager with my photography and my videos. If you see any of our videos afterwards, you'll see them, and they're totally different than the competition. I drive my photographer and my videographer nuts, but some other things we let go, and just do it. Just do it. Seth Godin says you can either fit in or stand out, but not both. All right, I'm going to fast forward through some of this. I can't understand why people are frightened by new ideas. Quite frankly, I'm frightened by the same ones. So I won't go too much into video because Karen's going to talk about video tomorrow. But again, you need to be using video, whether you're in real estate or you're a lender. It's not optional, okay? It's not optional anymore. Dinosaurs are extinct for a reason. I grew up a Toys R Us kid. I grew up on Friday nights going to Blockbuster because that's where the good-looking girls hung out. Guess what? They didn't adapt, and they're extinct. You need to be able to adapt quickly, okay? So I'm going to fast forward through some videos, but again, I'll make videos when? No, just do it now. I told you earlier, shy real estate agents, they got skinny kids. Just do it. All you need is a smartphone. You need a webcam. Create a YouTube account for free. I use a video email service. If you lenders don't do this, you might consider. It's a personal touch. I personally use a company called Bombbomb. It's a goofy name. I know it. But this on the screen is an example. I'll send a video afterwards, meeting a client, or before I meet with them. I can send an email to the masses. I have a blog and a website where I put content out there all the time. Okay? All the time. Testimonials, case studies. Well, Mike, give me some ideas of content. Well, you can create tips for buyers, tips for sellers. Even you as a lender can create tips for buyers, tips for sellers. Okay? Commonly asked questions. The home's under contract, now what? Okay? Your why video, community videos. Highlight other top rock star businesses in your market. Okay? I was here with Reagan Mackey. I coached Reagan Mackey, a $100 million Compass agent. She had to leave because there's a business going out of town, hopefully not going out of town, but they raised the rent, and her and her team are going to do a video to try to keep that business in business. Okay, those are community outreach. I sat down with this homeowner. She's 70 plus years old. The lighting sucked if I were to critique my video, but audio is more important than lighting because you don't want it to sound like, Blair Witch Project looking and sound terrible, like a wind tunnel. But if she says that Mike LaFido is a top agent and I recommend Mike coming from a 70-year-old, that's believable than just some quote from Nancy. Okay, so use video when possible. All right. I talk about DISC personality. You as lenders should be using DISC, D-I-S-C. I don't have time to cover DISC right now, but this will help skyrocket your conversion. DISC. D stands for dominant, determined. My wife says D stands for something else. You can figure that out. Okay? I, influencers. Okay? So I tell real estate agents, but you lenders have to listen to this. You should have a fast-paced first orientation meeting with the client for the D or an I, fast pace. You got to have a slower pace for the S and the C with more visuals and more case studies and more of the metrics. And then you got to have a mixed. But you can't have a one-size-all presentation. You got to be like a mirror. You got to be like a chameleon. You got to adapt your presentation to your audience. If I was sitting across the table from a D or an I, which is fast-paced, and I pulled my laptop with my 93 slide deck out, they'd be like lost. It would just be bottom line. Karen, why should I hire you? What's your rate? What do you do differently? Okay?
The experiment making headlines by the chain Payless Shoes. They held a grand opening of a luxury store with a different name but the same shoes and charged hundreds more for those same shoes. Customers paid. Here's ABC's Kana Whitworth.
Behold, Palessi.
We built a fake luxury store in Los Angeles and filled it with Payless Shoes. The guests at our grand opening party had no idea.
Guests invited to check out what looked like a luxury shoe shop.
They're elegant, sophisticated.
I just think it's so classy.
And I could tell it was made with high quality material.
A $35 shoe going for $645, an 1,800% markup. Store owners sat on their heels as fashion influencers emptied their wallets.
I would pay $400, $500. Yeah, people are gonna be like, where'd you get those? Those are amazing.
Then they're let in on the prank.
These are actually from Payless.
You've got to be kidding me.
Shut up. Are you serious?
But those shoppers were refunded their money and they got to keep the shoes.
David.
My point is, some of you overthink things. You can build your own brand starting from scratch. You can build a luxury brand from a company or a background that hasn't been luxury. Okay? I believe it. I've trained agents from all types of walks of life. I mentioned this earlier about politics. You know, Michael Jordan, they did a big documentary on him called The Last Dance. I'm a big Bulls fan, by the way. And I was at the game when the Bulls won their 70th in Milwaukee. Rodman had pink hair. It was awesome, 1996. Michael Jordan was asked why he didn't back a Democratic candidate when he was playing, and he said, because Republicans buy sneakers too. You know, Republicans, Democrats, independent, vaccinated, unvaccinated, pro-Biden people, anti-Biden people, they buy and sell a whole lot of real estate. Okay? So just be careful how you put yourself out there on politics, because you might be dividing, and don't judge a book by its cover. I'm from Wheaton, Illinois, more churches per capita than anywhere. You might think, oh, conservative America. They must be right-wingers there. And you say something, make an assumption. You know, when they say assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Don't assume. Try to be neutral. But on the same token, if you do feel something passionate about something, I'm going to tell you, stand up. I've spoke at the last two school board meetings for my kids. I'm probably tagged a domestic terrorist, but I want my kids to know that I'm not staying silent for them on some things, okay? Again, if you hang out with 9 top producers, you're bound to be the 10th. I do have some, here's my contact information. I'm going to be sticking around afterwards. We're doing an event in Texas in 27 days. If you're a licensed real estate agent, you might consider attending the event in Texas. You can just write the URL down, luxurydesignation.com/Texas. But I'm going to have tons of handouts at the end for anybody during the break. I stick around. I'm not traveling till later today. But luxurydesignation.com/Texas. But more importantly, my contact information is up there. Now, we started something on Fridays. I did it from the hotel room this morning. It's called Luxury Fridays. For the most part, it's always at noon Eastern, 11 Central, where we're bringing content out there, and I'd love guests. So if you want to jump on there sometime, we can bring you on as a guest. Just shoot me a little note. Again, I don't care what your background is. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday that's big with NAREP down here, National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. Yes. Where's he at over here? There he is. Yep. So get involved. Here are some associations that you guys can get involved and give back. If I'm a loan officer and I'm trying to get in front of more real estate agents, okay, you have NAREB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers. I spoke at their convention. NAREP, okay, for Hispanic real estate professionals. ARIA, okay. LGBTQ Alliance. For example, do you realize it's still legal to discriminate in 27 states based on someone's sexual preference? 27 states here in America in 2022. So you might consider joining the LGBTQ Alliance just to help support them. So that's kind of what I have for you guys today. But a couple things in conclusion, because anytime you present, you want to wrap things up with some key bullets from you, for you to remember, actionable items. Number one is your mindset. Repeat after me. Garbage in, garbage? No. Garbage in, garbage stays. What are you listening to? Who are you surrounding yourself with? You know, CNN stands for constant negative news. Garbage in, unfortunately, garbage stays. So who are you listening to? What are you surrounding yourself with? Okay? That's your foundation. Consistently, you get kicked in the shins daily, so surround yourself with overachievers, people that are going to pull you up. That's the key to build a brand, is your foundation. Number two is your blueprint. Your blueprint is how do you continually fill the leads, the funnel? How do you position yourself to attract more opportunities? That's number two, okay? That's your blueprint. And number three is your positioning power. How do you position yourself as a leading authority, okay? How do you position yourself as an expert, as a consultant, as an advisor, but not a salesperson? That's key. I told you if you have no other sales, you can leverage other people's properties. Remember that? What do we call that? All right, other people's properties. With that, my name is Michael LaFido. You guys are excellent. You guys are excellent. Hey!
Yeah, you know me.
All right, awesome. Thanks, guys.